Welcome back to the Fantasy Football Hub channel. Today I'm joined by Wes, FPL Heisenberg, to give some final thoughts on Gameweek 24, including some fun left field shouts that fall outside the template, while also looking ahead to Gameweek 25 and beyond. Wes, first time chatting to you, mate. Pleasure to chat to you. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. And happy to be on with you. You've done some good videos so far on the channel. So yeah, excited for this one.
Thanks, mate. So as this is my first time chatting to you, I want to get a general overview of your season so far. So let's have a look back at 23, but tell me just overall, especially since the World Cup, how's it been going?
I don't want to swear. Not very well. I like to pride myself on getting some good overall finishes in FPL. But this year, yeah, it's not going great. It's been a tough one. A few things haven't gone my way, maybe the odd mistake here or there. But yeah, I'm still confident. There's still a lot of, all these blanks and doubles coming up. That's where the time is to sort of make up ground. So yeah, I'm confident of a good finish. But as of right now, if the season ended, I wouldn't be happy with my rank, no.
Sure. So around 300k, that's not that bad for this point of the season. Your team looks pretty well set up. A decent game week last week. A little red, kind of a grey.
Yeah, a little red. De Bruyne saved it towards the end. No Saka hurt. I could have gone, couldn't really afford it in the end, but there was a route of maybe going Mahrez instead of De Bruyne and then taking the -4 of Martinelli to Saka. That would have worked out well.
Okay.
And what else? The Edison, you can see Edison sitting in there for me, stinking at my team. I took out Kepa a few weeks ago. Chelsea weren't looking great. Edison had 2 double game weeks in the space of like 4 weeks, was it, or something like that? So I thought, right, 6 fixtures versus 4 fixtures, part of a better defense, etc., etc. And then Chelsea went on a mad run, and City just keep, that he doesn't get any save points. He concedes 1 goal per game, but no shots on target apart from the goal. It's just really frustrating.
Honestly, that swing from Kepa to Edison, when Edison on paper was the better pick, especially as you say with those doubles, unbelievable, really. But that is how FPL is, yeah.
That is FPL, and that's why we love it. We love the pain and we love the joy. Exactly. So hopefully, I'm due some joy in the next couple of weeks.
I hope so too, mate. I've got a lot of the same players, so that'd be great for me. So let's talk about, what I think is this season, maybe especially, we're becoming slight slaves to the template because we're led down a certain path. There seems to be an ever-decreasing pool of players that we can optimally choose from. So what I want from you today, Wes, is some fun left field picks that are outside the template that might just explode over the coming weeks. So, chat to me. One name that screams out. Who are you saying?
So I'd say the first name, and again, it isn't one that maybe people are thinking about because it's not someone who has a double coming up, but it's Joao Felix from Chelsea.
Love it.
Obviously, what we've seen from him in that, he got sent off, didn't he? So what was it? About roughly 60 minutes versus Fulham, and then obviously the full game against West Ham. I didn't watch him I didn't watch the Champions League game actually, so I'm not sure how he got on there. But just watching those games, he looks excellent. He had a goal ruled out for offside against West Ham. He obviously scored his goal, really nice run and finish. And yeah, like against Fulham, he was peppering the goal, looked really good. So yeah, he's a sort of a left field pick, maybe a replacement for someone like Mitrovic, who's in my team.
Yeah.
He's not doing much at the minute. But it's difficult. So for me, in my setup, I want to be maybe looking at someone who doubles in 25. Maybe I want to rectify that mistake of having, not so much a mistake, but rectify the move of Martinelli to Saka. All of a sudden, I'm running out of transfers. And if I want to get Joao Felix, it's essentially a -4. And do I want to do Mitrovic to Joao Felix for a -4? Maybe yes, but I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to get these players in.
Well, I will say on Joao Felix is he has been by far, I'm a Chelsea fan, he's been by far and away our best player since he's come back. I mean, to be fair, as you say, against Fulham, he was excellent until the red. And since he's come back in the team, he's been, like, honestly fantastic. I've been surprised by how good he's been. Against Dortmund, again, he was excellent. Just couldn't finish his chances. We had about 3 or 4 really good chances. He hit the bar from a one-on-one that, he did everything right. Could easily have gone in. He just looks on fire, really. So, yeah, I love that shout. Very good. Anyone else?
So in terms of, and now it's back to focusing on the double game week. So we kind of, it's not really left field to say Salah, although he is kind of left field at the minute. But with the double coming up, I think for me, I will potentially look to move off of De Bruyne to Salah in that game week. That's going to be a fairly bog standard move, I'd say. Possibly the best captain choice that week, unless you want to go for a single game week player, of course. So yeah, there's the Liverpool boys. If you wanted a cheap Liverpool defender, possibly Gomez, but we want to see how Van Dijk fits back into the team. Does he take Matip's place? Does he take Joe Gomez's? Obviously, Trent, Robertson, Van Dijk are all better options than Joe Gomez. Don't get me wrong, but it's just the price point of, I think Gomez is like 4.3, so he's on a par with who we want to talk about next, which is the likes of Tarkowski, Kilman, and the Everton and Wolves keepers as well, Pickford and Jose Sarr.
It's interesting. Sorry, carry on. Sorry, carry on.
No, go on.
It's interesting you say about Gomez, because in my thoughts, I was thinking, you know, how can you get to Trent and Robertson?
Yeah.
There's an easy move to get to Salah from the likes of De Bruyne, but you can't really get to a Trent and Robbo with all our current structures, which is, you know, Shaw is probably one of the most expensive defenders we have right now. You can't just find another $1.5 million, 2 million. Exactly. So going down to Gomez to maybe unlock more funds is definitely a way to get into that defence.
Yeah, I think that's, and again, Alisson's quite an expensive keeper as well, isn't he? So the only way, and even Matip, if he keeps his place, I think he's like 5.9. So it would be dependent on, I'll be watching this Gameweek 24 Liverpool game and hoping Van Dijk partners Gomez. Maybe some Liverpool fans in the comments can maybe give us their insights, because I just don't know who's going to keep the place out of those two. But yeah, if he is nailed on to playing the double, it might be worth it. You know, it frees up some funds, short of Gomez, frees up 0.8 million, something like that, and then you can redistribute your funds. It's not as if you're not putting all your eggs in these. You know, Liverpool haven't been great defensively this season, but it's just a cheap. You'd sort of look at that the same way you'd look at the likes of Tarkowski and Kilman. It's just a cheap defender, but the bonus is he plays for Liverpool, and you know they can turn their form around at any time, can't they? And you know, string a couple of clean sheets together. Of course, if you can afford it, you know, Trent was robbed of an assist in FPL, wasn't he, the other day against? Yeah, that was. I don't have him, but I was tweeting about it, how it was a poor decision not to give him that one. Their argument was that he was aiming for a different player in the box, but he's just put it into a good area for someone to score. So I think that should be.
I think as soon as the Opta data guys or FPL guys are trying to guess who certain players are aiming for, then are you not kind of saying that you're putting yourself on that same footballing intellectual ability as Trent? I don't know. Like, is it for you to decide who he's aiming for? It's Trent after all. And he probably is aiming for Robertson, fine, but you can't 100% say that. And it's a bit dubious anyway. So the assist definitely should have been given. We've had a few weird ones this season, haven't we? The Edison one as well. You're an Edison owner. How did you feel about that?
Furious, absolutely.
It's a disgrace.
Furious. Yeah. It was. I was livid with that, especially as I was already down on the move because of Kepa doing so well. So I wanted to recover some points, and that was like a last minute assist to make it, go from a 2-pointer to a 5-pointer. So and again, it's punishing. Edison is literally trying to find Mahrez with that long pass. It's the only play he's aiming for. It's a touch off the defender, and it takes it away. I tweeted about that at the time as well, saying how I think Odegaard got an assist in the same game week for a scuff shot, which Nketiah managed to finish, which is fine, but we're rewarding. Odegaard didn't mean that assist, whereas Edison did. We should be rewarding the players who are trying to create a chance for another teammate, rather than punishing them for a small touch. And there was videos going around of other goalkeepers getting assists for much bigger deflections. So yes, it is infuriating. And every single season, assists in FPL either being given dubiously or not given dubiously is always a good source of angry debate on Twitter. And it always, everyone's so biased. If you don't have Edison, you think it's not an assist. If you do have him, you think it is one. It's just one of those. But even, I didn't have Trent, and I was even calling, I purposely tweeted about it saying, look, I don't have him, but that was an assist.
Yeah. To be fair, I'm the same with Edison. I don't have him, and obviously people like you have him that are good at the game, and you don't want other people to get points. But we've seen literally carbon copies of that goal.
Yeah.
And even goals that have more of a deflection and more of a touch by a defender be given as an assist, even for Edison. Absolutely. So for that not to be given, a bit of a disgrace. Coming back to the cheap defenders then, it's a fun one, that, because I feel like the template pick will be someone like Tarkowski. That's just what I think most people will go for, which makes sense. But if we do get news, or we do see some sort of inclination that Gomez will be in the team, that's a fun little option that you could go for, to go outside the template, I think.
It is, and exactly that. And I don't think, in most seasons you'd be sort of on a level playing field with other, you'd almost be thinking, everyone's got Trent, everyone's got Robertson, so you're not really gaining from the clean sheet. However, this season, like you said, it's going to be so hard to get to Trent and Robertson. because if you remember my team that was up on the screen a while ago, I don't have much money in my defense at all. I'm going to probably bench my most expensive defender in Trippier. Even if I wanted to take him out, I still need to find 1.7 or 1.8 million to fund Trent, I think it is.
Yeah.
Because of the selling value is a bit different, isn't it? So to get to Trent and Robertson, especially if I want Salah as well, is going to be impossible. It would have to, if I wanted Trent and Robertson that badly, I'd have to not get Salah essentially, or I'd have to maybe lose Kane, which I don't think I want to do. So yeah, for me, my only Liverpool players are going to be probably Salah, and then the only other way of getting another Liverpool defense player in would probably be Gomez.
Yeah, I've got your team up on screen, and you've got 0.8 in the bank. So yeah, you'd have to realistically sell Kane, which just doesn't seem like a very viable move. To be fair,
yeah, it's not ideal. If Trent, I'd possibly consider it more if Trent and Robbo were the Trent and Robbo of old.
Of course,
if the clean sheets were almost guaranteed, if the attacking returns were semi-guaranteed like they used to be, but they're just not. So I'd rather that cut price option if I am going to go for anyone. Yes, he's less attacking than Trent and Robbo. Probably not as good on the bonus, but he's just a cheap defender that I can play in the double, bench him in the other weeks maybe. So, or look to move on. But on Tarkowski and Kilman from Wolves as well, they are interesting picks because Tarkowski, we've already seen him score a goal from a corner, and obviously Dyche is going to be all about set pieces. McNeil to Tarkowski was the goal last time, two former Burnley players. That's not going to happen every week, of course, but that is going to be a decent route to points for the likes of Everton set pieces, and Tarkowski's got a good a chance of anyone. And he's just budget enabler, isn't he? So
yeah.
There's also the ultra cheap Bueno from Wolves, who may or may not be nailed on. He'd started, I think this is right, 10 Premier League games in a row, but the last two, he missed one of the games, was just on the bench. And then the next game, he came off the bench at half time. So again, watch with key. I'd say if he starts game week 24, you can be maybe semi-confident that he's going to start in the double. I've got him in my squad as just a cheap bench player, but like I said, if he starts game week 24, I'll probably just throw him into my starting lineup. He's got a double.
Yeah.
Hope he starts at least one, ideally two, and then maybe if he starts 2 games, it's got a decent chance of a 8 or 9 points or something like that.
I've got him as well, and he came on at half time after the red card, and then they won the game, or they won that second half 2-0 with 10 men, and he was in the team. So that would lead me to believe that it's a very good sign, and he was playing well, to be fair. And according to Wolves fans, it's quite a close one between him and Nate Nouri. So I think playing him in the double, he could easily start at least one game. So
that's
depending on your bench,
Yeah, and because it's a very unusual scenario going at 25 where we've got obviously 4 teams blanking, 4 teams doubling. I'd rather just punt on Bueno getting me something and starting rather than taking -4 and change Bueno or change someone else for I don't know, another player with a double game week, because it's all it's a -4 and Bueno could do well because he is an attacking left back. And the good thing about Bueno is in some games he gets subbed after the 65th minute, 75th minute, which isn't normally a good thing. But if it's locking in a clean sheet early doors and then Wolves go on to concede, like if you'll note from Bueno, he's actually got a clean sheet against Man United, even though Rashford scored, because he got, I think, subbed on the 65th or something like that, and Rashford scored 75th. So there's always a chance for an early locking of a clean sheet. Obviously, we don't want to sub on the half time or the 58th minute or something, which is
it's going to happen now.
But it is. But I do like it when defenders are getting in between 70 and 80 minutes. It's absolutely ideal.
Well, speaking of defenders that aren't getting full 90s at the moment, Ben White is in your team, and I want to talk about him and Martinelli and Odegaard, to be fair, specifically. What are your thoughts on those 3 Arsenal players? Because they didn't perform very well across the double, but
absolutely. No, they all blanked across the double, which is really frustrating. And Ben White was on, again, a frustrating Premier League decision this time. VAR, Tony got a goal and 3 bonus points, which should have been offside. Ben White at the time was on for the 3 bonus points, so it's frustrating. But I feel like I've got triple Arsenal, and they've got another double game coming up soon, but I feel like I've got not the worst, but I haven't got the ideal Arsenal triple up. I want Saka, and Ketty is potentially a better option than Odegaard right now as well. And Ben White, again, you could go, they're not keeping that many clean sheets at the minute. Someone like Gabriel or Saliba are a bit more nailed on. So it's not ideal, but with a lack of transfers already, Ben White's just staying in my team now for the next couple. Tomiyasu made the mistake last game.
Yeah.
And White plays the large majority of the time. So he's not, someone like Bueno is more of a rotation risk, I'd say, than the likes of White. So White is just going to have to stay in my team for the next few weeks and hope for the best. Same with Odegaard. And like I said, I might find him. I might do a bit of a mad one this week and take out Martinelli for Saka, but I need to free up some money to do so, which is where these cheap defenders that we've already been talking about come into play, actually. So, yeah, I think by the time my next Arsenal double, I think Saka's just, Martinelli versus Saka right now, because of Nketiah playing, Jesus and Martinelli used to interchange position quite a lot. And Martinelli was just on better form when Jesus was in the team. Now, not so much. He's getting subbed after 60 minutes as well, pretty regularly now, because of the new signing of Trossard. So his minutes are diminished, whereas Saka plays 90 week in, week out. Saka's got the penalties like we saw against Man City. Without, if he's not on penalties and Martinelli is, Martinelli probably outscores him this game week, but that penalty got him the goal, 5 points. He got him 2 bonus points. It got him a really big haul just purely for being on pens and sticking it away. So, yeah, I think the penalties, the extra minutes, just the general form of the player, the general sort of attacking importance of Saka, rather than Martinelli, not attacking importance, what I'm trying to say. The more goal threat, the closest goal he's getting in general, Saka, makes him obviously the better pick. But it's about that. Is it worth the extra money? I decided last week it wasn't worth doing it wasn't worth the -4 and it wasn't worth the extra money. But I think I was wrong in that. And I think for the next double game week, especially Saka's probably going to be one of the best captaincy options that week as well.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to want to make that -4 either this week or next week. So, yeah.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you. Captain in 25, Salah v Saka, but then also captain this week as well. Let's start with this week then. So who are you looking to captain this week? Because Haaland against Forest away is a pretty nailed-on captain. However, there are other options. The likes of Rashford looks pretty good with a very favourable home fixture. So what are you kind of thinking?
It's tough, isn't it? Because since the World Cup, Rashford's form has been, I'd say, better than Haaland's.
Yeah.
I know Haaland's got the odd big return here and there. I think a hat-trick against Wolves. I think a brace away at Leeds. But, I think before that Arsenal game, he'd gone maybe 2 or 3 games without scoring.
Yeah.
Which by his standards is obviously a little bit of a mini drought. He also got obviously dragged at half-time with his injury. So I'd say, generally speaking, Rashford's form is a little bit better. Rashford scored last night, a nice goal away at the Nou Camp. So I was on Rashford the first half this week. I think it was this morning or maybe yesterday. I changed it back to Haaland.
Ooh, okay.
But it is so difficult. In a 1 game week punt, it's can I guarantee? Let's say I do choose Haaland over Rashford. Will that be the correct decision? Will he score more points than Rashford? I just don't know. But with Rashford's been fairly consistent at getting a goal a game and occasionally adding an assist into that as well. But Haaland's got that potential of just getting hat-tricks, hasn't he?
Yeah.
If City click into gear, they could 4-0 Forest and he gets all 4. You can make the same argument for Rashford, I suppose. Could he score a brace against Leicester? Of course he could. But I'm on the fence, but right now I'm just leaning towards Haaland because of the monster he's been over the course of the whole season. And that sort of monster threat he does pose just to get hat-trick. A hat-trick for him is bog standard, whereas a hat-trick for Rashford is...
Yeah.
I don't think he's got a hat-trick this season. So it's tough. I think they're both great options. I guess it's one of those, pick your poison and cross your fingers. No content creator can guarantee either way, really, who's going to score more.
I think your point there is exactly the reason why I will captain Haaland, just because he has that... his ceiling just is higher. We've seen... the number of hat-tricks that he scored already this season is incredible. Yeah. And Forest without their centre-backs, I'm not sure if they're back or they're fit. But as you say, it's the sort of game where you would not be shocked if after 25 minutes he's already scored 2. And even if he scores 2, comes off at half-time, it's still a big haul. And I mean, I'd expect Rashford to get a return in that game, but maybe just a return. Whereas Haaland, as you said, could just... Yeah. He is a monster. He could go absolutely mental.
And I think with Haaland, he has got, we don't really talk about it that much, but he has got decent assist threat. I remember before the World Cup watching games, he was just linking up with players like it was Foden at the time. And just because he's that central focal point, if there is a runner to the left or right of him, it's normally just a fairly simple pass which creates a chance. he set up Gundogan for one, who then obviously passed it one more time to Grealish, but that could have been an assist for him. He got the assist in the first game of the double.
Yeah, that was a great assist.
Yeah, it was. And I think that, we always, me, myself included, we always just think about Haaland goals. But I think there is that, we shouldn't forget that there is some assist threat there, especially with City being, when they click into gear, they are a great team who are going to create really good goal scoring opportunities. And the thing I'd actually not forgot about, but I'd maybe diminish in my own head, the fact of the Forest centre-backs being out. It's difficult as well. The opposition, I always think of Leicester as having like this terrible defence and being pretty awful this season, but they've improved of late. And same with Forest, I think of them in my head as almost this terrible team, but they've improved a little bit of late. So they are both really good fixtures, but they're not as easy as maybe they could have been. Rashford's home form's been really good as well. And Haaland's, if you look at where his goals have mainly come, a lot are at home. A lot of his hat-tricks have been at home from memory. So it's a difficult one this week, which makes it more interesting. I think in those first sort of 17 game weeks or something, it was just, I kept telling everyone, literally just captain Haaland.
Yeah, you had to.
Don't even think about it. It's, people who did try and be different. I think some people went Tony when he had I think he had a really poor, I think he had maybe Bournemouth at home or something, but he blanked, and Haaland scored a hat-trick and just destroyed people. So yeah, for me, it's Haaland, but anyone, I'm not going to talk anyone out of Rashford.
Sure. And then early thoughts right now, final thing for 25 captaincy. If you are going to get Salah in, obviously we haven't seen what's happened in 24 yet, but Salah v Saka, if you're going to get both of them in, what are your initial thoughts there?
Yeah, it is really tricky, and it is really important to note that Gameweek 24 has to be taken into account.
Yeah.
Obviously, Salah looked really good against Everton, but will he/Liverpool look quiet against Newcastle? Will that sway things? Will Saka look jaded or whatever? But as of right now, I don't know actually. The good thing about captaincy is we don't have to plan that part. With transfers, you have to plan in advance.
The only reason I'm asking you this is because you don't have either of those players, and that's why it may be in your decision right now. Because depending on who you want to go for, say you get an injury, you might have to favour one of those players over another, and then captain. That's. But you don't know that yet, of course. Yeah.
That is a very good point. So my original transfer plan, I suppose, was to get Saka this week, save enough money in the bank. I'd only need 0.2 or something to go from De Bruyne to Salah, which would hopefully guarantee you getting both. But yeah, to not sit on the fence, to pick one right now, I'll go for Saka because he's got the team for. I know Arsenal have faltered a little bit recently, but they're still joint top of the league. Saka's still their main man. And Liverpool have been a bit sketchy this season. So yeah, if I had to pick one for captaincy right now for Gameweek 25, I'll go with Saka, but I'll probably change my mind a million times between now and then.
Yeah, there's a long way to go until that point, to be fair. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this one. A little bit more of a fun one. Some left field shouts there. As I said, let's not become slaves to the template. Let's have some fun with this game. Yeah, a lot of the time we want to pick the players that everyone else picks and that score loads of points, but get Joao Felix in my team. That's what I want to do. That's the fun of FPL, getting in players that are just fun. And that's what I love about this game. But yeah, Wes, pleasure to chat to you for the first time. Really enjoyed this one. Looking forward to doing more every single week, if you're up for it, that is. And yeah.
I am indeed. And also to put you on the spot, are you bringing Joao Felix in?
No, I'm not. I'm not even gonna lie and say that I am. No, I'm gonna save my transfer this week. But in the coming weeks,
that is wise. And the last piece of advice I will give is it's something that I was hoping to do this week, save a transfer. That is the best strategy if your team's set up well. Like I said, for me, it might actually be a minus hit to achieve what I want to. If I was set up well, though, I'd be definitely saving transfer. Yeah. That is the best strategy. But yeah, I want to see one of us get Joao Felix in soon because that's the frustrating thing about FPL. You kind of want to have 2 or 3 free transfers each week to move to these players, but it's just not, I want to make about 5 transfers this week, to be honest, but I can't justify a minus 20 or whatever it would be, minus 16. So unfortunately, sometimes you have to just go without these exciting players.
Honestly, if I could, with complete free transfers, get from Mitrovic to Joao Felix, I would do that in a heartbeat. I think that's a big upgrade, especially given his form, which we've chatted about. But yeah, with the doubles and the blanks coming up in 25, I kind of have to roll, unfortunately, which goes against everything we've kind of said in this video in terms of having fun. But that's the way it is, What can you do? Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, good luck in the upcoming game week.